we're back again with a really short video this time, and this video is about how to unify your background so that your characters stand out. I'm showing you here our Lean and Lou calendar that we made a couple of months ago, and I used the tips in this that I'm going to show you now. So the first thing when you are creating your book pages, obviously you're going to compile your scene and you're going to use characters that you've created. Now I like to create my characters in advance and save them as PNGs, like I've done with the little K-pop Lou here and K-pop Lean. I created these characters on a canvas, knowing what I wanted, and kept them separate as an addable element later. But today we're going to work with a much more simplified version of Lean and Lou. These are some of the characters I created and kept. As you can see, there's not many on this sheet, but we do have multiple other files with lots of Lean and Lou characters. I'm going to take this selfie one here because it's very clutter-free and easier for you to see, and I'm going to show you how I make them stand out from a scenic background. Now I like to work on 2 pages when I am doing a scene, one page for the background scene and one page for my character and the elements that I want stuck with them. The background scene, I pretty much use the graphics in Canva. Sometimes I make my own scene from scratch. Sometimes I'll take a scene like this that's only a partial scene and add to it. And sometimes I will use a complete scene that they have in their media library and add very little to it. Here at Lean and Lou, we like lots of details and extras in our book backgrounds, so we put a lot of stuff in our scenes. But in this video, I'm just going to keep it simple for you. I'm just going to match up this little grass area here just so that I can use this little sun scene. I really liked how it looked, but it was not a full scene, so I'm just working with what I have. So this is just to show you, you don't need to use complete scenes. You can use partial, odd shaped scenes and add to it. I'm just filling in the grass here in case anything I add later doesn't completely cover over what I'm doing. And I'm matching the colours using the dropper tools and just simple shapes to fill in those spaces, and then moving those shapes to the back. So now that I've got them filled in and the sky filled in, I can then go and search grass on Canva or other landscape details and add them to my scene. Now some of these are not the right style. You always want to pick a set of elements that match together. It doesn't matter if they're the exact same style as your characters, because sometimes I've noticed that when we use a different style of background scene, as long as it's cohesive with each other, then our character and their elements are one cohesive style, it does actually work. So I'm filling in those little areas by using the layers, pushing little bushes and tucking them behind grass, using all different elements in similar colours and similar styles, and just filling in my scene as I go. Now, because I want our characters to be grounded at the forefront, I'm going to also add a layer of grass right at the front here, just to give them a little area that looks like they are nearer us than the things in the background. Now, as you can see, our characters are very bright, and now our background scene is also very bright. And although this looks cute, it's also a little bit visually painful because it's bright competing with bright. And that's something we come across a lot with Lean and Lou. So this is a little trick that I came up with. You take a simple square and you turn it white. You extend it to the full size of your canvas, and then you go up to the transparency and you bring that down until you're at the level of colour that you want your scene to be. Now I like our scenes a little bit on the pale side, so Lean and Lou really stand out. I'm just going to test them and see. They could go with being a tiny bit brighter, so I'm just going to move them to roughly where I want them and the sort of size I want them to be, and then I will adjust my scene transparency a little bit more till I'm happy with the level of colour. Now, just because you've put this overlay, that means everything is tucked behind a layer and no longer can they settle into the scene. So I sometimes like to pull the front elements to the front, and as you can see, trying to group them all together takes the entire scene to the front. So we're going to have to do this one element at a time. So I like to pick out the elements right at the front first and bring them to the very front of the entire project. Now Canva can be a little bit temperamental in that you have to bring the layer that you're trying to tuck behind it to overlap it slightly before it will move it in front of it. So you just have to move around that large transparent sheet near the objects that you're trying to move in front of it until you get everything. So then once I've done that, I will move up a bit and move some of the slightly further back elements to the front so they're in front of that transparent layers, and this will make them bright again on the brightness level of the Lean and Lou bears. Now I've decided I want the entire grass that they stand on to come forward because I feel like their shadow would look better, so I'm going to bring that to the front too. Now this is really just about what your preference is, playing around with your images, playing around with your layering. As you can see, some of the elements also can be changed colour, so I could have lightened the grass that way. So now I'm putting my element back, but now I can tuck them behind the grasses that I have brought to the front. So using the position button and clicking back until I get them behind the grasses, you can see Lean and Lou are now very settled into this scene. They're standing out because they're brighter, and we have managed to create it in only seconds. See, you can see the colour difference. It's not a vast difference, but it makes a difference when your page is complete. And any elements you want to stay with Lean and Lou, attach them to your character picture and keep them all together, and you won't have to be fiddling with lots of little elements when you bring it together.